So, for more than 10 years, a writer named Oliver Burkeman used his column to just dive into life's biggest questions. And you know what? He didn't find some magical secret. What he found was a set of really hard-won principles. In his very last column, he boiled it all down. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack in this explainer. Yeah, this quote really sets the stage. This isn't some guru on a mountaintop telling you how to live. This is someone who spent years wrestling with these ideas out in the open for everyone to see. He's not even claiming to have all the answers. He just says he has a powerful hunch that it's time to stop. And, that's a huge lesson right there.
Right, so for a full decade, this column was his sandbox for tackling, well, everything. Anxiety, our crazy need for control, finding meaning in our work, our relationships, you name it. It all kicked off with this kind of tongue-in-cheek promise to find the secret to human happiness. But what started as a joke turned into this very real, very public investigation. And what's so cool is that the journey itself totally changed the destination. It started as his own personal quest, but it quickly became this big conversation with his readers, who he said were often far wiser than me. He started noticing that the same useful ideas kept popping up again and again. So let's dive into that first big set of lessons. Okay, so this first chunk of wisdom is all built around a pretty radical idea. It's this. Real freedom doesn't come from getting everything done or trying to control the future. Nope, it comes from accepting that you can't. I know it sounds totally backward, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful.
Let's just let that one sink in for a minute. There will always be too much to do. And here's the kicker. This isn't some personal failing on your part. It's not a sign that you just need a better to-do list app. According to Burkeman, it's a structural, totally unchangeable fact of modern life.
And this is exactly why. Thanks to technology, capitalism, our own ambitions, the list of things you could be doing is, infinite. Seriously. Emails you could answer, books you could read, skills you could learn, side hustles you could start. It never ends. But your time? That's very, very finite. The math just doesn't add up, does it? So here's the big mental shift. The solution isn't to become some productivity superhuman who does it all. It's to just accept that you are going to neglect things. The only real choice you have is what you're going to neglect. So instead of feeling guilty about all the stuff you're not doing, you can feel really empowered by consciously choosing what you are doing in favor of what matters most.
All right, here's the second tough pill to swallow. We spend so much of our energy worrying, trying to get some kind of guarantee that everything's going to be okay in the future. But that guarantee is never going to show up. The future is, and it always will be, totally uncertain. Now, a quote like this, "I don't mind what happens," can sound a little passive, right? But it's not about giving up. It's not apathy. It's about letting go of that anxious, desperate need to control the outcome. You can still make plans, you can still work hard, but you do it with the understanding that a plan is just a statement of intent. It's not a magic lasso you can use to wrangle the future. Okay, let's keep building on this. If we can't control the future, and we can't possibly get everything done, then how in the world do we decide what's worth our limited time and energy? Well, Burkeman suggests that maybe we've been using the wrong compass all along. Okay, check this out. When we have a huge decision to make, like, should I take this new job or end this relationship, our go-to question is, will this make me happy? The problem is, we're terrible at predicting that. So he suggests a better question. Will this choice enlarge me or diminish me? Whoa, that question just hits different, doesn't it? It taps into a deeper intuition about whether a path, even if it's way harder, is actually going to lead to growth. And deep down, you usually just know the answer. Okay, this next one is one of my absolute favorites. The capacity to tolerate minor discomfort is a superpower. Think about it. So many of our biggest goals get completely derailed, not by some giant obstacle, but because we're just unwilling to feel a tiny bit of discomfort. That slight boredom of starting a new project, or the mild anxiety of making a tough phone call. So let me ask you this directly. What important task are you avoiding right now simply because it feels a little bit uncomfortable? Is there an email you're putting off, a conversation you're dreading, a blank page that's staring you down? So often, that feeling we're trying to avoid is actually super fleeting and totally manageable, but we let it stop us for days, weeks, maybe even years. But here's the good news. This is totally a trainable skill. You can seriously think of it like building a muscle at the gym. Step 1, you just decide to do the thing. Step 2, You expect that uncomfortable feeling to show up, the anxiety, the boredom, whatever. And then step 3, you just do it anyway. You let the feeling be there, but you don't let it be in charge. And I promise, the more you practice this, the easier it gets. This next one is a fantastic self-check. The advice you don't want to hear is usually the advice you need, right? If you find yourself seeking out the same kind of advice over and over, you might be just trying to avoid an uncomfortable truth. Burkeman realized he was obsessed with productivity books because they fed his desire for control, when what he really needed to do was ask why he felt that need so intensely in the first place. So think about those cheesy self-help practices. If the idea of keeping a gratitude journal or trying mindfulness meditation makes you kind of cringe, that might just be a blinking neon sign that it's exactly what you should explore. Our resistance often points us directly to where the real work and, the real growth is just waiting for us. Okay, so we've confronted our limits. We've got a new compass for making choices. This next set of principles is all about shifting our internal perspective, how we see ourselves and our role in the world.
Imposter syndrome. We all know this feeling, right? That little voice in your head whispering that you're a total fraud and at any second, everyone's going to find you out. We're always told to fight it, to overcome it. But what if the solution was something completely different?
And there it is. The solution to imposter syndrome isn't to convince yourself you're not an imposter. It's to realize that you are, and so is absolutely everyone else. Seriously, everyone is just winging it all the time. That super confident person they're also improvising, patching things together, and just figuring it out as they go. The only real difference is that you're aware of it, and that self-awareness is actually a huge strength. Now this one. This challenges a really deep-seated idea in our culture. We're taught that a good life is a selfless life, one spent serving other people. And look, kindness is absolutely essential, but sometimes it's all tangled up with guilt. Burkeman's point is that just suppressing your own passions doesn't actually help anybody. In fact, pursuing what genuinely lights you up, that kindles a fire that can end up inspiring and warming everyone around you.
And this brings us full circle to the final and maybe the most poignant piece of wisdom in the whole thing. It's the one that Burkeman himself was living out by writing this very last column.
Yep, after all that searching, this is where he landed. The final secret to a fulfilled life is knowing when to move on. A huge part of a meaningful life is just recognizing when something, a job, a relationship, a project, even a decade-long advice column, has reached its natural end. Sometimes the most creative and courageous thing you can do is just acknowledge that ending and turn toward whatever is next. And with those simple words, he just closed the chapter. No big fanfare, just a quiet, powerful acknowledgement that this particular journey was over for now. It's such a perfect demonstration of the very principle he's sharing. And so that's really the question this whole thing leaves us with. It's an invitation to look at our own lives, not with a sense of failure for what's ending, but with a real sense of curiosity and courage for what's about to begin. What journey in your life has reached its natural endpoint, and what might be next?